I'm CEO and president of Breitbart News Network, but many of you also know I'm probably, well, without a doubt, Andrew's longest friend. Andrew and I were both adopted. We grew up next to each other. Until a year ago, our parents lived next to each other still. So you can imagine spending 5-6 hours a day after school together every day growing up and what that's like. I've known him again the longest, and this is no exaggeration to say we were brothers, not just friends. And much later we became business partners. So I'd like to tell you a story, and that happened at around the end of 2007. And it was my first CPAC, early 2008. Andrew brought me for the first time. We had just become business partners. And at this time, Andrew and I were working out of Andrew's basement and my home office. We didn't have our first employee yet, Alex Marlowe, who's here, and you'll be hearing from him shortly. There were no bigs. We had no original content. Anthony Weiner had not been taken down or taken down his pants. And Andrew was really only just beginning to come out of the shadows and speak in his own voice. And that's what he wanted help with. And that's one of the things that we worked very hard on with the sites. But the real point of this story is Andrew is not a household name. So Andrew and I are at a cocktail party with Eagle Publishing. It's one of these crowded rooms, imagine twice as many people here, and we're in a group of about 20 people, and all of a sudden people scatter for whatever reason. They get a drink, they go to the bathroom, something or other, and there's 3 people left in desperate need of an icebreaker, and it's Andrew, me, and Senator Hatch. So Senator Hatch, being a politician and good at breaking the ice, turns to Andrew and says, "And what do you do, sir?" And Andrew looks at him with a straight face and says, "I'm a husky male model." And Senator Hatch just looks at him, just you see, what do I make of this? And he looks at him for about 10 seconds, it felt like 30, with a straight face just says, "It's a free country." The conversation didn't last much longer. But that's really just a small example and taste of how Andrew always had an outside the beltway mentality. Whether it was that kind of fun and irreverence that he had, whether it was a whole heaping of righteous indignation, he was unbeholden to the beltway. But what characterized his journalism most, and I think everyone in this room knows that, is that he was a fighter. He was a brawler, a bare-knuckle barroom brawler. The conservative movement needed that. Journalism needed that. And Andrew hated more than anything bullies. He used to say to his son, his oldest son, Samson, now 12, who he is so proud of. If you see a kid being bullied on the playground, you go right up to that bully and you fight back. And if you're in trouble with your principal, your teacher, your school, I don't care. When you come home, you're going to get a hug from me and a good job. And who did Andrew consider the biggest bullies? The institutional left and the mainstream media. Andrew had this, run towards the fire attitude, and he, as a result, had so much hate and venom spewed on him, and false charges of racism, sexism, being crazy, being hateful, being homophobic, none of it true. People started to think, because Andrew started to do that so often, hey, he must like being hated. No. Andrew did not like being hated. Nobody likes being hated. He loved protecting people. He loved absorbing the hate so that others didn't have to. You want to hate somebody, he'd say, hate me. Leave them alone. They're good people. All they're trying to do is express their conservative beliefs. Well, I loved him like a brother, and this was really hard for me to watch. And he explained on many occasions, I have to take all the arrows that they will shoot at me to show that you can take it and still be standing and still fight. We also knew that that hatred, that venom, was the increasing price of success. Right now, Andrew's voice lives on at Breitbart News, where we are committed every day to fulfilling his vision, and through all of you, his friends, his colleagues, his fellow citizen journalists, and bloggers. He inspired you. Listen to me. He was very inspired by you. Thank you. He'd be proud to know that he got what he wanted most, more voices, not less. So I'm honored to be in this room full of people committed to that same legacy with that same fight. And so, Ethan, I borrow your glass? I'd like to raise my glass to Andrew Breitbart, a patriot, a street fighter, a cultural warrior, someone who fought to preserve what's best in all of us and in this great country. A loving father and husband, a great man, the most loyal friend a person can ever have, and a wonderful teacher who showed us the way. Andrew Breitbart, I love you, I miss you, we all miss you.